The traditional healthcare community is suing the telehealth industry for fraudulent and impure delivery of healthcare services to nearly 7 million Americans. Arguments will begin now. Representing traditional healthcare, we have attorneys Niles and Flowdy. Representing telehealth are attorneys Zarek and Sepulveda. We have just a few minutes to go over the basic arguments that you have prepared. Ms. Niles, Ms. Flowdy, please begin.
Thank you, Your Honor. We are here today to prove to the people of this court that telehealth care is not what it claims to be, that it is inferior to traditional practice of patients physically going to see their providers, and that this industry is simply a wolf in sheep's clothing, attempting to sell a product and make a quick buck rather than putting the patient's needs and priorities first.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Telehealth industry is not only honest and patient-oriented, but we will show that telehealth offers cost savings and increases in accessibility that traditional healthcare cannot deliver.
Thank you. Now for arguments, Ms. Flowdy.
Your Honor, we would like to present Exhibit A. Telehealth puts patient privacy at risk. John Doe, family NP, reported to our legal team that he's experienced the risk of HIPAA violations on numerous occasions because patients choose to teleconference him from their living rooms when their spouses are present, from public places, and even once from the subway. Telehealth increases the risk of patient data falling into the wrong hands, risks which include not just HIPAA, but also threats from their own government, hackers, etc. In 2015, Lustgarten found there's a paucity of literature considering governmental threats to clients in psychologist services. Psychologists should not take for granted that encrypted and/or secure services are appropriate for use with clients. By using new media for psychological service delivery, psychologists may be at greater risk for ethically questionable practice. It's not reasonable to assume that patients are well informed of the risks that they are taking.
Your Honor, I would argue that telehealth is not any less secure than our already vulnerable traditional medicine systems. For example, on May 12, 2017, the National Health Services in England and Scotland had a cyber attack breach that affected at least 16 of their organizations and quickly spread to over 150 different countries. In addition, between January 1st and March 31st of 2017, 79 separate security breaches were reported in the U.S. alone, exposing 1,713,000 healthcare records. I would say that the current traditional medical infrastructure is far from being the gold standard that many seem to think it is.
Okay, thank you both. Now let's move on to Exhibit B.
For Exhibit B, we present the increasing incidence of cyberchondria.
Objection, Your Honor. That's a made-up word.
Well, a quick Google search finds 47,000 results. Objection denied.
As I was saying, cyberchondria is a growing problem. Cyberchondriacs, a term used to describe anyone who seeks health-related information on the internet, are at risk not only of acquiring unreliable information online and therefore potential unnecessary anxiety, but they could also be financially exploited, for example, by e-health organizations and pharmaceutical companies.
Your Honor, the prosecution is attempting to equate telehealth with WebMD. Telehealth is a nearly $600 million industry in the United States and is growing globally at a rate of 30%. Furthermore, while this cyberchondria word may be a growing problem, it's a problem all healthcare professionals, and certainly not just those practicing telehealth, will have. Traditional medicine can just as easily exploit a cyberchondriac as telehealth providers. Telehealth's purpose is to make legitimate medicine more available to the patient, rather than have them play Dr. Google. We know, and let me read a study for you, and let me quote, reasons for patients seeking information online are varied, but include not having enough time at consultations. To try to address this issue, organizations such as NHS Direct have been set up, but their success is difficult to measure due to a lack of data. However, potential exploitation of a vulnerable population and the motivations behind their search for information on the internet merit further study. And unquote, Your Honor, this quote is from the same study that Ms. Niles just cited. If the plaintiff's answers plainly says the data is indefinite, then how is this relevant?
Point taken. But, Your Honor, another issue with cyberchondria that it leads to the overutilization, which eats up any cost savings. Which brings us to Exhibit C.
Exhibit C is cost effectiveness. A 2011 review of studies by Mystery found that telehealth services did not save money, which contradicts what the defendants suggested.
I have another study, Your Honor. In 2010, by Whited, found that telehealth services in dermatology were found to be money-saving.
We would like to submit a study by Henderson et al. That found no cost savings in chronic disease patients who use telehealth services versus traditional health services.
We present a 2015 study by Ezeta et al. And a 2017 study by Frost, which has shown the cost effectiveness of telehealth for treating obstructive sleep apnea and cystic fibrosis, respectively.
This study by Ashwood, Marotta, Cowling, and Usher Pines found that telehealth services actually cost more in the short term.
But what about the long term, Miss Flouty?
We would also like to submit this study, Your Honor, by Langebeer et al. That found cost savings in pre-hospital telehealth emergency services when compared with traditional ER visits.
Well, it seems that we have a lot of evidence from both sides when it comes to cost savings. Can we move on to the next exhibit, please?
Certainly, Your Honor. Exhibit D. People will use cyber medicine to circumvent laws governing healthcare. This study from Northern Ireland shows that women used telehealth to procure abortifacients illegal in their own country, and further that 5% of these women went on to need traditional medical interventions to deal with the side effects of their illegal actions. While not a large number, 5% is not statistically irrelevant, and further, the FDA states that there are so many rogue websites that offer to sell potentially dangerous drugs that have not been checked for safety or effectiveness. Though a rogue site might look very professional and legitimate, it could actually be a front for an illegal operation. These rogue sites often sell unapproved drugs, drugs that contain the wrong active ingredient, drugs that contain too much or too little of the active ingredient, or drugs that just contain dangerous ingredients. Who's protecting these people? Not telehealth.
Your Honor, let's consider it from a different perspective now. Let's say you are a woman, as you are, in a rural and secluded area of the United States. The only physician available for that area flies in only once every 3 weeks. Imagine that. During those 3 weeks, the stage has passed for that woman to be able to utilize a non-surgical intervention such as an abortifacient, as she was talking about, and now the only option is a much costlier and much riskier surgical abortion. With telehealth, that doctor could see the patient much earlier and be able to intervene in a much more safe and cost-effective way. Telehealth is about access and cost effectiveness, and it can be used to augment traditional medicine and shouldn't be seen as a threat but as an asset.
I'd like to thank all of you for your contributions to the discussion. This data is overwhelming. Now I clearly need more time to look it over. There are obviously many valid points from both camps and both sides regarding telehealth, but we will need to meet again to consider all the evidence. We will adjourn for now.